guys, I'm Madison Mary and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a very exciting reading vlog for you guys. So it is August 11th when I'm starting this vlog and this is super exciting. I tried this vlog out last month but just didn't have the time to actually do it. So this month I do and I'm really excited. So I'm going to be reading some historical romances from some of my favorite romance booktubers. These are people who I have been watching for a while now and I absolutely adore their videos and I love seeing all their recommendations, and whenever they have their vlogs out, it's like some of my favorite videos. Like I always watch them, but I've never actually read the books that they've said. So this is me finally reading the books that they recommend and some of their favorite romance novels that are in the historical genre. So I'm going to start off by talking about The Naughty Librarian. This is Amanda. I absolutely adore her. I met her earlier this year in January, February. I was traveling to California and I got to meet her all pre-COVID and stuff, and I had such a wonderful time with her and I love her so much. We actually have a video out on my channel and her channel just talking about smut in general. If you guys want to check that out, I'll leave a link down below in the description box. But from her, I'm going to be reading Romancing the Duke by Tessa Dare. On this list, she's the only historical romance author that I've actually read from before. So Romancing the Duke, I can tell you about because I started it last night. I'm around 20% of the way through. So we're following Izzy, and her dad was this really famous author. He wrote these children's tales. But when he passed away, all of his assets ended up going to the male cousin. So Izzy was left with nothing and she's been, you know, scraping to get by. And then she receives a letter saying that her godfather has passed away and has left her something and that she must travel to this castle in order to get the boon. And so she travels to the castle using the last of her money, and she gets there, sees this dude who's like very menacing with a dog, and she faints. When she wakes up, she learns that his name is Ransom and he is the Duke of Rothbury and this is his castle. And then the dude shows up with the will and is like, ha, JK, actually this is her castle. Ransom is like, no, this is my castle. And so now it's between the two of them trying to figure out what's going on. But you know, she starts getting some feelings for Ransom and Ransom starts to feel some things for him, but he kind of doesn't want to because he's blind and has a scarred face and he's not a happy camper. So far I'm really enjoying it. As I said, 20% in, I read that all last night and I really didn't want to put it down, but it was getting late and I was like, I've got to go to bed. It's a little steamy, but I think the only thing that's kind of annoying me so far is the fact that Izzy is constantly saying that she's not attractive because she's been told by people that she's just a plain Jane, you know, she's nothing really to look at and she's never really had suitors before. So that's a little annoying, but it's, you know, it's not the end all be all. The next person I plan to read from is Jess from Peace Love Books. I love Jess so much. I never miss any of her videos. I'm literally obsessed with her. It's not even funny, and all of her vlogs and recommendations are just like 5 stars. So from her, I'm reading Hearts Aflame, and this is by Joanna Lindsay. This is actually one of the older historicals on this list, so that's as much as I know. So I'm excited to read this. And then I'm reading from Lacey Book Lovers, who's such a sweetheart. I think she's adorable. And I've also been, you know, catching up on a lot of her videos recently just because she has videos dedicated to specific historical romance authors and of her reading like their different series. And they're a really great way to like kind of learn about the genre and about what you might want to read and who you would want to pick up. So I really love that. So ɪḻsᴛᴏᴏᴅ is her favorite historical romance author. So I was like, I have to pick ɪḻsᴛᴏᴏ's book. And from one of her recent videos, I found out that her favorite one is Devil in Spring. And so I'm reading that one. And the last one is Remarkably Lisa, who is like, I love all these women, if you can't tell. Like their videos just make me so happy, and they're just, romance booktubers are just so precious. I love them to death. So from Remarkably Lisa, I'm reading Falling into Bed with a Duke by Lorraine Heath. So this is one of her favorites. All of these are like their favorites. Maybe not their absolute top favorite, but like some of their like top 5 favorites. But yes, as I said, as I read them, I will let you know how I feel and also what these are about, because as of now, I don't know much, and the only one I actually owned before all this was Romancing the Duke. So I'm excited to kind of dip my toes into the historical romance genre a bit more. So very exciting, and yes, I'll keep you guys updated as I keep reading Romancing the Duke. Goodbye. You ready to read some romances? Are we ready to read some? Do you guys see the picture in the back? Oh my gosh, it's a pretty lady. Oh my gosh, such a pretty lady. Are you a pretty lady? Are you a pretty lady? Okay, so currently I am 40% into the book. It is next day. I didn't really get as much done yesterday as I wanted to, but you know, it's fine. Things happen. I'm enjoying it. I still feel like I'm missing something from the book, but as I said, I'm only 40% through, so I'm thinking it's gonna like get a bit more. Like, I understand the romance is kind of like inkling between the two of them, but I kind of want a bit more than just like their sexual attraction to one another. I want there to be like a deeper connection, and I'm just kind of waiting for that to happen. We did have a scene because of the like injury that, you know, because he's blind, he actually gets these like really bad headaches sometimes that like totally cripple him, and so we had a scene with that where like she's looking after him, and we have another side character who like lives down the street, and she's hilarious and I really love her, so I'm thinking maybe she's like one of the protagonists for one of the next books, in which case I think that would be so much fun because she's a ride and a half. But yeah, I'm interested to see how it keeps going. I just feel like our main character, she's just a bit too plain at the moment, and I want her to have a bit more, but I don't know, we'll see. So the more that I'm reading of this, the sweeter it is becoming. Like, their romance is actually really cute. So I'm now 71% in, so I only have an hour and 19 minutes left of reading this. I love how Kindle does that. Like, it tells you on the bottom like how much longer it should take you to read it. Such a pleasure. But yeah, so it's been really cute, and I'm excited to see like the way that the conflict is going to go in this, because I feel like I've only read a couple of historicals before, so I don't really know if there's like a formula to them in the same way that most like modern romances are. I like how soft Ransom is becoming because of Izzy, and I love how Izzy is, she's not my favorite heroine that I've read about, but I really enjoy their romance. So yes, I finished the book today. I'm very happy. So yes, I finished Romancing the Duke by Tessa Dare. I think I'm gonna give it 3.5 stars, because I did like it and I was thinking of giving it a 4 stars, but the more I kind of sat with it, it just constantly felt there was something missing. I thought the romance was really cute between the two of them, and I did love the revelation that kind of occurs at the end. It was a really cute touch and very, very much interesting. I did like that nice little twist on the story, and kind of, I didn't see it coming at all. It was nothing that had ever really crossed my mind, and so I really enjoyed that. But I feel like I never really connected to the two of them, and I never really got those butterflies in my tummy, or like, you know, those fanny flutters as I was reading it. I know that like I've read Tessa Dare's more recent works, and those ones have been like freaking spectacular, so I just think that in comparison, I didn't love this one as much. Once again, in typical Tessa Dare fashion, it does have, you know, that banter in it and the wittiness and the sarcasm, which I always love, which is why I'm thinking of giving it a 4 stars, is because I just love her writing style, and I'm always interested in the book. Like, I never get bored of it. We'll see. But next I'm reading Hearts Aflame, which is the book from Jess from Peace Love Books, which I'm very excited about. So I'm gonna go purchase it now and then download it to my Kindle. I don't know about you guys, don't you hate that you can't purchase Kindle books on your iPhone or like any phone? Like, you can't use the Kindle app and buy them. Like, it's such an annoying thing. Like, you would think that in the year 2020 that Amazon would have dealt with this by now, but you know, whatever. So yes, I'm very excited, and I will keep you guys updated. It's only like, oh god, what time is it? 9:16 p.m. So got a good chunk of the night left to read. Ha ha ha. Okay, so as you can see, this book is making me cry. Not like cry, but just like tears. I don't know, some books it just happens to me, and where like some things happen to certain characters, and I just like, tears will like just start forming in my eyes. But I don't want to give you a synopsis right now because I'm like really into the book and don't really want to stop too long to talk about it, but I'm 42% of the way into it and I love it. It did take a hot couple of seconds to really get into it, but I'm very much into it now. Okay, I'll catch you guys up later. Bye. Hey, so I'm finally updating you guys. I'm sorry for the delay, but yeah, so it's August 13th. I am, oh my god, I'm like really far into this now. I am 64% of the way through. And you know, things are gonna happen very soon, I feel like. Okay, let me tell you what this is about. So I'm reading Hearts of Ḻain. So this is set in, I think, 657 AD. But so this follows Kristen, and she is a Viking. She's a Norse woman, and she comes from a very affluent family. Her mum taught her how to fight and defend herself because her mum was a slave at some point from someone, and then her dad's like really rich, and she has like 4 brothers. Like I think 2 of them are older and like 2 of them are younger. She's very sought after. Like everyone wants to marry her in their like little clan area. Like everyone. The book actually opens at like an attempted rape scene, but she defends herself and gets away. So that is how this book starts. I do know that a lot of older historicals do tend to have a lot of dubious consent and things like that, so there have been a couple things in this that have been a little iffy, but I'm actually genuinely surprised by how assertive Kristen is, and she's a really cool heroine, and I think it's really awesome considering that this was written in like the 90s or something like that. Oh my god, you know, I'm just gonna Google it. So it was published in 1987, which is really cool. So yeah, like I said, we're following Kristen, and she really wants to go on an adventure. And like I said, the parents trying to wed her off, and she kind of wants a romance like her parents, which is like this very beautiful romance, but like they truly do love each other, and that's what she wants. She doesn't want to just get married off because she has to get married off. And so she ends up stealing away on her brother's ship because he's going on like a trading journey. And what ends up happening is she ends up finding out, no, he lied to their dad. He's not going on a trading journey. He's actually going on a Viking mission to go to this land and raid a monastery down by the Saxons. And she's like, this was not my plan. And then when they get there, it fails horribly, and half of them get killed and the other half of them get captured. So Kristen ends up getting captured, but she's dressed like a man, so they don't realize she's a man, so she has to hide that she's a girl because she's afraid that if they find out that she's a female, that they'll just rape her and use her as like a slave instead. And so the place that they ended up was I don't really understand. But the land that they're on is ruled by Royce. He's this, you know, very damaged hero, but he's very strong and burly, and he gets his way with everything. But his beloved, his fiance, was actually killed in the previous Viking raid, like 5 years ago. And now his current betrothed, he really has no feelings for. So he's got a lot of issues going on for himself. He's constantly very annoyed by Kristen, and, you know, obviously she does get discovered as being a woman, and so then that becomes a whole dilemma, and she's constantly shackled, but she's like very outspoken. She's also nothing like any of the women in these lands. Like she's extremely tall. I think she's like 6 foot something, and you know, she's very outspoken. She doesn't like, you know, cover up the way that these women do. She doesn't wear sleeves, and she doesn't wear dresses that are like up to her ankles and things like that. So I really do love her. She's a lot of fun, and I really do actually adore their romance in this too, which I think I said in some previous clips. But the only thing that's been a problem for me in this is that there is a scene where she's, you know, holding out sex from him for like a week, and then it gets to the point where she tries baiting him into having sex with her, but she doesn't really want him to know that she wants it. So it's like kind of like dubious consent because she's not actually consenting to it, and he thinks she's not consenting to it, but she is consenting to it, if that makes sense. And then there's like another scene where it's very confusing because she kind of wants this kind of sexual relationship with him. Like she loves it as it is, but then she loves like the really rough and tough and like bondage stuff. So like I said, a lot of like gray areas in it, and there were a couple times where I was kind of like I did look at other reviews just to see what people were saying, and it's very common for these kind of books. There are some people who completely write off this book because of those scenes, but I'm not going to. Maybe that'll just make me give it like a 4.75 stars because I can't see this really not being a 5 stars because I really do love it. But you know, there are those scenes that aren't exactly great. This is also my first time reading like a Viking book, so I will admit in the beginning there's also a lot of talk about like all these different lands and different Viking raids and kind of just the history which I'm guessing is probably accurate. It's just I don't really know much of this stuff, and so it doesn't make total sense to me. Yeah, I think another good thing about this is the fact that there is no miscommunication really between them. Everything is quite clearly spelled out, whether they like it or not. From the very beginning, Kristen says that she's interested in him and that she wants to marry him. She calls him her her heartmate or something like that, which is really cute. And from the beginning he says like, oh, I'm attracted to you, but like I don't want more from that. So like it's really interesting in this whole way, and I do really enjoy it, so I'm gonna keep reading it. I'll probably update you guys next by the time I finish this, but just want to give you guys a quick little update. I'm also gonna see if I can hunt down the OG cover of this and see if I can buy it. But yes, I'll talk to you guys later. Goodbye. Hey, okay, so I finished Hearts of Flame by Joanna Lindsay and I loved it. The ending, I will admit, was a tad bit quick. That last 20%, there were a lot of events that did transpire. But, I mean, it's fine with me. It happens in some books. I think I'm gonna give it maybe like a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I think is what I'm gonna go with at the moment, just because, like I said, the ending was a bit quick, and there were a couple of times in the book where, you know, there was the weird non-consensual consensual sex. So, apart from those two things, this was phenomenal. One of the best historicals I've read in a long time, and I think one of the things I really liked about this one in comparison to a lot of other ones I've read, this one had a lot more plot to it instead of just the romance. So while yes, we were following the romance of Kristen and Royce, we were also following this kind of storyline that Kristen was going through as a slave to the Saxons. What does everything mean for her? Like, will she actually ever be able to get married to Royce? So will she be thrown aside? Will she ever be, you know, free? Will she forever be chained? And like, there are a lot of different like plot things going on, and so I did like that a lot. That it kept me very engaged, and then you had this romance on the side that I still really adored. So yes, very much happy with how that went. It is actually technically, since it's August 14th, today is the historical romance readathons like weekend edition. And so like I'm like inadvertently, you know, participating in it without even realizing it. And it's funny because one of the prompts is to read a ɪḻsᴏᴏᴅᴅ book, and that's actually my next read. So I just actually took a Bookstagram picture for this because I wanted to post something today. If you guys don't know, I have a Bookstagram. So this is what I'm reading next. It is ɪḻsᴛᴏᴅᴅᴅ by ɪḻsᴏᴏᴅᴅ. I have no idea what it's about, but it's book 3 in the Ravenel series. So this is my first, actually no, this is technically my first time reading the 3rd book in a series. I normally start all my historicals like at the beginning and keep going, but Hearts of Flame is the 2nd book in that series, and the 1st book is actually following Kristen's mum and dad, and then the 3rd book follows Kristen's brother. The Ravenels, I don't have any clue what this is about. Yeah, we'll find out. I'm excited to start it, and I'll keep you guys updated. Okay, bye! Hi, so it's 2 in the morning. So I'm 30% into Devil in Spring. It is about Lord St. Vincent and Pandora Ravenel. So Pandora is actually a twin. She has her twin sister Cassandra. She then has an older sister named Helen, and the 3 of them are the Ravenel sisters, and they actually were raised in seclusion because their parents like hated them and only gave attention to the older brother, and so they literally like, I don't know, I'm guessing we would get more of backstory if we read like the first 2 books in the series, but now I'm really interested in that. But Pandora is very whimsical and eccentric, and she makes up words. She's very outspoken. She's not ladylike at all. She has no desire to marry. She's only participating in the season because her sister is, and it would be weird if the 2 of them did it together. And her actual desire is to make board games, and she already has patented one and has 2 more to be patented, and she's like, I don't need to get married, I'll be a spinster, and I will have my own money and my own income to come in. And that was all great and a fantastic idea until she got caught in a compromising position, and she got stuck in this like settee, and Lord St. Vincent ended up seeing her and coming to her aid to like pull her out of it. And then they actually got like caught in this like compromising position, and because of this position they were found in, where he's like she's like face down, like stuck in it, and so he's like pulling her from behind. So you can kind of imagine the... Anyway, it's a whole compromising thing, and Lord St. Vincent's actually this very notorious rake. He ends up getting forced into kind of told that he should be marrying Pandora because now she's compromised and that's going to be like a whole problem, blah de da de da. So what ends up happening is his mum and dad end up inviting the Ravenels to come and spend a week at their place in Sussex to kind of get to know each other, and so that's kind of what this is about. The book does start off, the opening prologue is actually Lord St. Vincent's mum and dad and like a chapter about them in the beginning, and I love the two of them. I really love her, and I don't know if there's a book about the two of them, but I really hope there is, like about their meeting and stuff, because she sounds absolutely wonderful, and I've never been so instantly drawn to a side character before as her, so that is something. But yeah, I'm excited to see how this goes. They just had their first kiss. It's 2 a.m. so I'm going to probably shower and get into bed and sleep now, but I might read a little bit more. We'll see. But yes, that's my update for now, and I'll catch you guys up later. Bye. Sorry for the crappy lighting. It's like 7:30 at night and I don't have any lights on, but I just wanted to let you guys know, just like a quick little update. It's 87% of the way through the novel, and oh my gosh, like it took such a turn that I was not even expecting in the back half of this. Like, what? Oh my god, it's so good. And like wasn't wow. Really cool. Zelda, can you not eat? But yeah, I just wanted to give you guys a baby update and be like, this book is like everything. It has so many different aspects to it. I'm like gobsmacked. I'm gonna go make my brother some ramen now. It says I have 27 minutes after this book, so I'll finish it later. And yes, I'll keep you guys updated. Goodbye. So I just finished the book, but hang on, look, Lacey commented on my picture of Devil in Spring, and I'm just like, I'm dead because I'm literally reading it because of her. And she doesn't know! So it's like 2 in the morning. I finished the book a bit ago. It's actually like one of my new favorites. I really loved it, and I actually was looking to see like if these characters were in any other books, and it's not only like that there's 6 books in this Ravenel series, but as I said earlier, the parents of the male love interest Gabriel's parents have their own love story too in the Wallflower series, and I was like, I need it. Oh my god, I'm like so excited. I wish I could read it right away, but I'm actually about to pick up Falling Into Bed with a Duke, which is Lisa's book. So I'm excited to read that. That'll be the last one I read for this vlog. But yeah, I love Devil in Spring. It was such a good book, and I'm so intrigued to see like what the other books in this series would be like. Lisa Kleypas is a really fun author. I don't know, I think she's going to become a new historical author that I really look out for. I have no idea what this next one's about, but we'll figure it out, and I'll probably catch you guys up in the morning because I'm knackered. Okay, yes, goodbye. editing Madison here. This may not be the best quality, but I'm filming it on my phone quickly to let you guys know that for some reason I lost a clip of footage of my very first bit of reading Falling into Bed with the Duke. So I was around 45% of the way through when I first updated you guys reading it, and I can't find that clip. So I'm going to talk to you guys quickly now about the plot of it. So we're following Lady Minerva, and she has a massive dowry, and she has gone through like 6 seasons, still hasn't been able to find a guy. Finds that, you know, most of the guys end up just wanting her because they're fortune hunters and they just want a dowry. They all say that she's too outspoken. They don't think that she's, you know, that pretty compared to other women. And so, you know, she's kind of given up at this point. She's kind of, you know, decided, you know, I'm going to be a spinster. That's fine. So before I really do any of that, I'm going to have one night of intense passion. So she decides to go to this club called the Nightingale. And it's kind of like a sex club in a sense, where you go, it's for aristocrats, and the women wear like these beautiful gauzy silk gowns and these masks, and then the guys are just themselves because it's just the way that it is. And yeah, so she goes and she ends up catching the eye of this guy, and he is the Duke of Ashbury, and he's a very notorious rake. And then they end up, you know, kind of getting together that night, but they don't actually have sex because he ends up finding out she's a virgin. He's like, you know what, your first time, you have to be at least in love with the person because, you know, it's going to last with you throughout the rest of time. So they don't do it, but he doesn't actually know she is because, like I said, she's wearing a mask and she's just going by the name of Lady V because, you know, Lady Virgin. And then he ends up the next day seeing this lady at this party, and it's Minerva, and he recognizes her in a way, and she has the same smell of verbena, whatever the hell the word is, and he starts kind of going after her and courting her, and it's cute because he knows pretty much who she is and she knows who he is, but she doesn't realize that he knows that she is both people, and so he's respecting her anonymity and is courting her in the proper way in, you know, being a Minerva. But then he still kind of he meets up with her like a couple times, still as Lady V, but nothing like, you know, no sex happens then. And it is just, oh my god, I love this whole Nightingale aspect. It's just so cool. And it was just so much fun to kind of see this. Like, I never read a book with like this kind of like secretive underground kind of thing going on. Plus Minerva is super, super smart. Like, she is just a businesswoman through and through. And that's another thing that guys don't like about her, is because of like, she's too, like, she challenges men, and men don't like that. Also, because as I was editing this, I didn't mention it, but Ashbury actually has dyscalculia, which is dyslexia but from numbers. And so that's like one of the reasons why he struggles with his own estate and numbers and money, because he struggles so much with it. So it's really interesting in that sense. But yeah, I just wanted to give you guys that little spiel about this book because I lost that clip. I don't know what happened. I need to get a new camera. Mine's half broken, so life. Anyway, back to the regular content where I finish off this vlog. Hey, so I finished Falling into Bed with the Duke last night, and I also just wrote all 4 reviews for these 4 books that I've read during this last week, so that I could come on here and give you guys like the total lowdown of everything. So the last time I left you guys off, I was 45% of the way through the book, and now I finished it, and I'm giving it a 3.5 stars. So I really did enjoy it, but my thing is that there were 2 times in this novel that I wasn't totally vibing. The first one was, I don't think I mentioned this before, but at the very beginning of the book, Ash has this whole thing where he takes photos of the women he has sex with at the Nightingale before he has sex with them. Not like porn photos, but like maybe like a photo of just like their arm or just like their legs or something like that. He is looking for perfection because he has just such a traumatic past with his parents that he has nightmares of their mangled bodies, even though he never actually saw them. And so he takes these photos so that he can look at them and not think of those traumas. It's weird. And the way that it's written, he wants to take a photo of Minerva's legs and feet when he first meets her, and it's written in a way that's kind of like a leg and a foot fetish. Like, and nothing against people who have foot fetishes, but you know, it's not something I necessarily want to read about in my books. You know, I'm just not a foot fetish person, so that was kind of weird. And then the very end, there's like a weird thing where he kind of almost blackmails her in a sense, and then she knees him in the balls. So like kudos to her, but like the whole point, like where he kind of vaguely sort of blackmails her, I was like, what the hell? Because it was totally against his whole character throughout the entire book, and then he kind of just like throws it out there, and I'm like, dude, what? Why? So that like that just really rubbed me the wrong way. But I mean, otherwise, I really loved how he courted her. That was like the big plus for me throughout this book. But the courting aspect between these two was really sweet because he was slowly becoming more and more enamored with her, and she was just very adamant in like the fact that she didn't really want to trust anyone because of all the fortune hunters that she'd been around beforehand, and she was just so determined to, you know, not marry someone if they only wanted her dowry or if they needed her dowry. And she was like, I want someone to love me, and I want that to be the reason why I get married. And so she's always very skeptical of everyone around her. And the other thing is that throughout the entire book, she's very down on her looks, and she's constantly kind of self-deprecating in that way, which kind of sucked. By the end of the book, she did kind of, you know, get a bit more confident in herself, and so that was at least a plus, like, thank God. Because that was one of the problems with Romancing the Duke by Tessa Dare, was the fact that, what's her name, Izzy, never really got that confidence in her looks by the end of the book, which was kind of annoying because, like, I'm fine reading about a character who's like very down on how she looks and doesn't think she's pretty, and then by the end of the book she kind of starts to think, you know what, actually it doesn't really matter. I like, you know, I actually am kind of pretty. You know, I like that. I don't like when they're just sad the entire time. But yes, so I gave that one 3.5 stars. I gave Romancing the Duke by Tessa Dare 3.5 stars. Because I think I've mentioned before, you know, there was just some depth missing from it. I've decided to give Devil in Spring 5 stars because I loved it so much. I really did. I loved it. I loved it wholeheartedly, and I keep thinking about it. I keep thinking about the beach scene that happens at the very beginning when she first goes to his estate. Like, ah, so good. And like, I just love the two of them together, and the whole courting process in that was just so perfect and beautiful. And like, oh, I loved it. And like the whole like crazy twist that happens like in the last quarter of the book, I really loved that. I thought it was like a really cool way to like kind of pick back up the book. And then I'm giving Hearts Aflame 4.5 stars because the slightly rapey-ish, non-consensual scenes that were consensual, I can't give a book that has that 5 stars. It's not gonna happen. But I really do want to read the first and third book in that series because I really did enjoy it, and I definitely want to look for more from that author, and also just more books that are kind of set in that setting, because most of the books I read are like historical duke romances or like earls or viscounts and things like that. I want to say thank you to Amanda, thank you to Lacey, thank you to Lisa, and thank you to Jess for, you know, loving these books and giving me the chance to love them too. I definitely plan on doing more of these. Let me know down below what some of your favorite historicals are, or who you think I should read a favorite historical from. I definitely know that I want to check out Riley from Riley Marie and do one of hers for sure. But yes, that's all for this video. If you guys did enjoy it, please hit the like button down below if you want to see more of me. Subscribe to my channel, and until next time, thanks so much guys. Bye!